Okay, I got the thumbs up. It looks like we are live, live on Facebook and on Zoom for our fourth in a continuing series of community meetings in response to the devastating November 17th Mountain View fire. So back in November, we assembled this team, this Emergency Operations Center, which is led by the commander who's on the Zoom screen panel tonight, our CAO, Bob Lawton, and Justin Nalder, who you'll hear from later, is the EOC director. But directly on the panelist screen tonight, we have a couple of special guests in addition to the EOC incident director, Justin Nalder, our community liaison, Mary Boer, our county council, Stacy Simon, our board chair, Jennifer Kreitz, our environmental health director, Louis Molina, and we have Justin Caparuso, who's our PIO and pulling this whole machine together. Also not on the screen, we have other folks that were instrumental in the response and also to the recovery. And I'll mention them before I introduce our two special guests. From Bureau of Land Management, Steve Nelson, the Bridgeport Ranger, District Ranger, Jan Cutts from the United States Forest Service. Mountain Warfare Training Center has representatives, I know Lieutenant Colonel Armold and I believe Colonel Whitnam are on. The fire chief for Antelope Valley, Rich Nalder. We also have a representative from California State Association of Counties, Catherine Freeman, who was instrumental in helping coordinate some of our asks of the state and Cal OES. But first, without any further ado, I want to introduce two of our legislators, two of our friends, our very important members of the community of Antelope Valley, Mono County, and their respective districts. I've gotten to know both of them separate from our work together in our advocacy for our community. First, I want to introduce Frank. Frank Bigelow is our assemblyman. He is from the 5th District. He, if you'll notice, and he did not disappoint, he is wearing a hat, and he wears that as a symbol of respect for the sacrifice for those who settled our region, and it serves as his commitment to continue to preserve our way of life. Frank was elected to the Madera County Board of Supervisors in 1998, where he began his legislative career after a long career in the telecom business. His family has a still established ranch and ranching operations that go back to the 1800s. And often when I'll be on a call with Frank, he will have just returned from some of those duties, taking care of the cattle. But after serving as a local elected official on the Board of Supervisors, Frank had his sights set higher. He became elected to the Assembly, where he still serves. And when you're elected to the Assembly, that requires being reelected every 2 years. So since 2012, he's represented Mono County as part of the 5th District, as well as he does a few other things with local organizations, committees, a lot having to do with ag, 4-H club, the churches, Farm Bureau. But an important aspect too of Frank's career and history and why he is so tied to committing to the resources that are needed to recover in this fire is he was a firefighter, still is on the volunteer fire department. But he aspired to be a fireman from early on, and on his 18th birthday, he became a firefighter, and still, like I said, to this day, serves on the local fire department. So we're going to give him a chance to talk, but let me first also introduce our Congressman Jay Obernolte, who represents us in the 8th District. He was elected to begin his first term just this year, and he has served prior as the mayor of Big Bear Lake. He also was a colleague in the assembly of the 33rd District of Franks. He still currently lives in Big Bear with his wife and 2 sons. He, in his business career, he's a video game developer and owner. He also is a certified flight instructor and a 3rd degree black belt. So if you're ever around and he's there, you're in good hands. You can feel protected. But I do really appreciate both of these gentlemen for coming on tonight on pretty short notice. We were texting over the weekend, and I try to keep them updated on what's going on with the Mountain View fire recovery. Both of them were engaged with helping with advocacy to get us resources from the very beginning. And Jay, at that time, he was still in the assembly, knew he was going to be sworn in as our congressman, and really wanted to help us, and was in a peculiar spot. But I know he reached out on our behalf, even though he represented a different assembly district to Cal OES. So we have these resources. This is what goes on in my world in the background. But these gentlemen were fighting for us to get us the resources, to get us the commitment from the state and federal agencies that we needed to begin the recovery. And also committed to this recovery as our Board of Supervisors. And I just wanted to really give a quick little background on Supervisor Kreitz, our board chair. She has been working hard in affordable housing since 2013, served on the California Coalition for Rural Housing Board. Currently, like I said, she's the board chair of Mono County. She's the chair of the local Transportation Commission, which I serve with her on. Represents California at the NACO Community Economic and Workforce Development Committee. And she also, beginning this January, serves as vice chair of the CSAC Housing, Land Use, and Transportation Policy Committee. So we have a committed group of individuals here. And first I want to turn it over. Well, I see that Frank has popped off the screen. Are you ready to say a few words, sir?
Yeah, I'm here. As you sit here and you're talking, John, I'm getting text messages and members and things. Anyway, I'm in the Capitol right now and in the office here, and so it's been a floor session day. And anyway, what would you like to talk about, John? Let's make it easier for you. I can tell you all kinds of good, fun things, but truth is, I'm more of a short, straight to the point type of person. So you know me. What would you like to talk about? I know you and I've talked about the fire, the recovery, and your needs, which are still many there. And right now you're going through the storm. The same thing's happening on our side of the mountain. The storm is there, it's hit. We've got multiple feet of snow. I don't know how much you got since last night, but it's like a double, triple whammy for everyone. And so it's really a difficult scenario for everyone to try to adjust to, and then to compound problems in certain areas. People are still without power from the wind event that just occurred. In fact, over 10 days, I think now, folks in the Bass Lake, Oakhurst communities are still struggling to go without, or going without power, and so forth. Anyway, let's kind of zero in and talk about what the group would like to talk about.
Yeah, we'll go to some questions from the group, but mainly I wanted everyone to see you and to be acquainted with the fact that you represent us, and that you are advocating on our behalf in Sacramento constantly, on not only on the fire issue, but on all rural issues, and that they have you as they are one of your constituents, and they have access, just like any other constituent, to your office and your resources, and that you are you're there to fight for us and to be available to help Mono County not only recover, but thrive, get through this pandemic. And I just, I wanted to invite you. We tried, I don't know how many times we went through trying to get you over here physically to see the area and the disaster. But it just, with COVID and the way it didn't work out, it was no less of a commitment or effort on your part because you didn't make it over here. It's just now we got you. So we'll let Jay say a few words and let people ask questions. But anything you wanna add is up to you. There's not a formal.
Let me just say first, John, I want to give you kudos. I want to give you all the praise because you did reach out. You did do a yeoman's job of spearheading all the troops that were necessary so that you could have the resources available. I know that you're absolutely right. This COVID has got us all in a bottleneck. It's very difficult for us to get from place to place. The governor put some pretty stringent requirements on us for shutting us down for moving and doing things. And, today he's lifting his stay at home orders and going to allow communities to kind of reopen at the tiered levels. That may be helpful in some areas and not as helpful in others. But really the truth is the Board of Supervisors, yourself, and the communities pulled together to help the victims of this tragic fire that took so many homes. And it is a handful for everyone over there. And I'm glad that we were able to quite quickly piggyback and get us into the FEMA scenario and get the Cal OES folks engaged and a number of other folks engaged to get you the resources that you were in desperate need of over there. And, thanks for the kind words. Thank you very much for saying all of those good things about me. It is hard being on one side of a mountain, and I listen to Stacy talk to me all the time about it. It's a long ways for them to travel to come up to Sacramento, and it is. It's a real commitment for everyone and yourself. You've reminded me of that. Other supervisors who live on the teeter-totter of the border, there where it's easy to get to, and it's not easy to get to. But from our days as county supervisors together to now, my commitment is no different than when I was president of CSAC. I'm there for you and everyone in the community as much as I can possibly do. I will do for you. And I know that'll be the congressman's feelings as well. Our commitment is no less. And in today's world with the electronics like they are here, we're able to communicate and work in a most expeditious way and an effective way. So I'll let Jay chime in because I don't want to use up all your hour of time.
Thank you very much, Frank. And yes, Jay, let's hear a few words from you. We'll open it up to questions. One correction though, and we already had a question in the chat box. There is not a FEMA response to this disaster. It's solely a government of California, Cal OES supported cleanup and effort. So
that's correct.
I'll turn it over to you, Jay.
We were trying to work on that FEMA stuff.
Well, thank you, John. Always an honor to be here, and just entering my third week as your congressman. Glad to hear you're getting snow, because we're certainly getting snow here in Big Bear. I've been in DC pretty much continuously until a couple of days ago. We were able to come back to the district, which is great. It was good that I was here to snow blow. I actually hit a chunk of ice this afternoon and broke a shear pin on my snowblower, and it made me wonder how many members of Congress are capable of changing a shear pin. So one piece of really good news today that we got was that I've been assigned to the Natural Resources Committee. That's a committee that I requested just because it's so important for our district. We've got so much federal land and so much activity that depends on it. It was really important to me, and I got the word this afternoon that I was successful in getting on that committee. So really looking forward to that. Also, it's been kind of a challenge getting all of our district operations up and going. I was very very kind of disappointed in the way that the federal government handles that transition. 7 years ago, when I was elected to the assembly, we just kind of rolled into our district operations and it didn't affect any of my constituents. But I'll tell you, we've been struggling to get the district office up and going, even though I had all the personnel from day one. And just today, we finally got the phones connected in the district office and working. So that's been really disappointing to me. But I'll tell you, one of the things that I'm going to be working very hard on over the next couple of years is to make sure that our rural counties get our fair share of federal funding, be it for disaster relief or for other types of expenditures. I don't know if you saw it, but last week the state auditor released a report of an audit that was done on the distribution of coronavirus relief funding. And it just made my blood boil. What they found is that rural counties are substantially disadvantaged when it comes to getting access to that money. And I'm not talking about in terms of the absolute dollar amount. I'm talking about per person, we get substantially less money in reimbursement than urban counties do. And that's kind of been the way it's gone for us lately, both with state money and with federal money. The urban areas like Los Angeles and San Francisco and San Diego, they have all the political clout because they have the most representation. And so they take the lion's share of all of that money. But to find out that we don't even get per capita our fair share is something that I'm really, really unhappy about. So that's something I'm going to be pushing for over the next couple of years, is to make sure that we get our fair share when it comes to the distribution of federal funds. So it's an honor to be representing you. I think our interests are really well aligned. I'm happy that I'm on the Natural Resources Committee. I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, and congratulations for that. That is a key assignment and will go a long way for our rural county and rural California. So just without trying to stall out this meeting, I wanted to turn it over to the EOC director to really, while you guys are here on the call, to recognize the individuals on his team, most of whom serve in a dual capacity as an EOC member and a county employee. Although one, Mary Boer, is just recently retired from Napa, and she came to us almost without taking a breath from her retirement in Napa and comes with a lot of experience in fire recovery. So we've assembled a team to support the community and the recovery of the fire. And Justin, you want to just go through a quick rundown of your team, your roster, and then a quick update on the fire itself, on the incident itself and the recovery itself. And then we'll try to open it up to as many questions as we can, because the focus here tonight is really not about me. It's not about our state legislators. It's about you guys, the people that are recovering from this fire. But I really thought it was important that you got to meet some of your representatives and see our board chair and our county council, who normally might not be on these meetings, and that we're all here to support the efforts of the recovery.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. And yeah, I would like to take an opportunity to recognize our team and the effort that they're putting in addition to their regular duties. Both have to get done, emergency or not. There's a lot on the plate. And so I think it's all going quite well. I'm satisfied with the progress we're making. Obviously, we're still looking for some additional resources in the form of federal assistance, but the state through Cal OES has been very helpful. We've completed our phase 1 sweep of the area with the assistance of Department of Toxic Substances Control. And so the immediate danger of hazardous waste potentially blowing around as these storms start to income has been mitigated to some effect. Now we're looking forward to a phase 2 remediation and cleanup, which is a general site cleanup of all the affected parties for those who opt into the program. And as you'll remember, we've been soliciting for the right of entry forms, the ROE forms. I think a majority of the affected families have gotten these and turned them in. To date, if my numbers are correct, I think we've got about 93 of these turned in, which is an excellent return on those. That gives access for the state to come in with facilitation of county employees to go in, do the general cleanup, and provide access for rebuild. Now, obviously, it's going to be quite a process on the rebuild, and living in a rural area, trying to get sufficient supplies and materials and contractors will be a significant effort in itself, but very pleased with the ROE returns. We've also got the Small Business Administration offering their assistance through small loans for both private individuals as well as businesses. And there's a small handful. I think they've received 7 applications so far and processed and approved 2 of those. So we're happy to be having that available to the affected families. Obviously, a big question on everybody's mind right now is how will the weather play into the remediation? I mean, we're expecting some significant amounts of precipitation coming in this week. By the end of this week, it's very likely that we'll have representatives from Cal Recycle and their contractors on sites doing preliminary assessments and evaluations for phase 2. If we've got 1 to 2 feet of snow on the ground, it's going to delay the process. You simply can't see what you're working with. They will be on standby and we'll get in there as soon as possible, but here we are. We had this incident right before winter, and we've had somewhat of a blessing in disguise with the options that we've had so far, but now here comes the precip, which we'll be thankful for in the spring. We continue to work on our intermediate housing mission objective, and we've done a pretty thorough job of reaching out, conducting preliminary assessments, and gathering needs of affected families and those who are without housing. We've gone from the immediate housing assistance and continue to provide as Red Cross finished with their assistance. We offered extended stays in motels and hotels for families that were affected. And now we're looking at yet a further option into the future. And we've identified a set of trailers. These are camp trailers that may be available, and working with the city of LA to trying to get those up here and be made available to the families that were identified for that. It's still in the works. We're looking at development of MOU and working with IMACA so that those can get properly distributed and cared for. So we're hopeful on that front as well. But like I said, everything is positive. Right now, we've got a lot going on behind the scenes, and soon we'll have more boots on the ground. I think that'll be about the overview from me. And actually, I did say that I wanted to recognize the team. How about I jump into that really quick? True to form, whenever you've got an emergency operations center up and running, there's a template and a protocol that you follow. Thankfully, to some foresight of county and town leadership, we had several individuals who went through the process of familiarizing themselves and training in these things. And then you expand the EOC or contract it as needed to fulfill the needs. So in this instance, we did have a quick intro to the incident commander, Bob Lawton, who's also our county CAO. Bob, thank you for joining us. I'm performing my duties as the EOC director underneath him, working with our public information officer, Justin Caparuso. We have a safety officer, Lori Morris, and 4 different operational branches. One of those is planning. Mary Boer's on the screen tonight as a planning section chief. Underneath the planning, we have a number of individuals helping out with our mapping protocols, portal design, QuickBase. Over to the logistics section, Don Nunn is our logistics section chief. He's not on with us tonight, but we'd like to recognize him, as well as the food resources and some of the local committees and clubs that we're helping out. Into the operations section, we have Louis Molina as operations section chief. He's on the screen with you tonight. We have several different divisions under operations: environmental health, community support, and animal control, all of which are putting forth a valiant effort in their recovery. And then we have the finance section with Stephanie Trujillo as our finance section chief, and a special breakout group that we've entitled the Housing Task Force. And these are the individuals that are really working on taking the immediate need and developing that intermediate option moving forward so that no one's left out in the cold. So thank you for all of your efforts. Congressmen and Assemblymen, thank you for joining us and listening to our needs and helping us out. And I will turn it back over.
Thank you, Justin. And the unnamed dozens of other county employees who helped at the shelters, who have been helping in the background of all these different operation divisions. A big thank you to them too. It's really hard to be able to thank everybody that's just pitched in, but the community's really come together in just a remarkable way with the focus of recovery and rejuvenation to bring back life and the sense of normalcy and the quality of life that everyone enjoys in the Antelope Valley and in Mono County. So do we have questions, Justin, that are queued up? We can go right to questions.
We do have one in the chat here. The first question, when do we have to pay the county, state, the money that our insurance company paid us for debris removal?
Is Stephanie on?
I'll start with that one. And if Lois wants to add to it, that you'll be billed actually after the debris removal's done. And we can get to the person who asked question more details on that, but they will be billed after the debris removal has been completed.
Okay. Also, just to remind everybody, the donation center is still up and running and thriving at the Antelope Valley Community Center. It's open every day except Sunday. Lots of Facebook interaction and posts about needs and things that have come in, pictures of things that have come in. So please, if you haven't been there or have some needs, go and show up there, see what's new there, and that's a continuing resource for the community by the community. Is there other questions? Or I saw that we may have a vaccination update from Brian Bullock.
I might add a bit of information regarding the cleanup and when to expect the invoices. So on the preliminary assessment, we're looking at a window, a time frame of about 3 months or more for the phase 2 cleanup. And I just wanted to set out, a realistic expectation for that phase 2. Phase 1 was completed much quicker. We had expectations of about 3 weeks, and it was completed in 1 week. They were able to really move through there with their team. So phase 2 will take quite a bit longer. We've identified a few properties that we consider as a higher potential environmental risk, and we will start there and then move our way through the whole affected area.
We have
Okay.
one more question that piggybacks on sort of the last comment, and that is, isn't the cleanup being paid for by the county and the state?
Yes, but if you have insurance and different insurance policies cover debris removal in different ways. So your policy may have a specific allocation for debris removal and it would go towards your costs. If your policy has it as part of your total rebuild costs, they would only pay anything left after that rebuild has been complete, if there is anything left, which would be somewhere down the road. So it depends on how each individual policy is written.
But if somebody was not insured at all, then the county and state through Cal OES would cover the cleanup.
Correct.
If you filled out a ROE, right of entry form, which it sounds like we've had a great response with those. So that's really impressive, and it helps the effort. Are there other questions, Justin, or do we actually have Brian for a vaccination update? Or
We have one more. We have another question about if there's someone that can talk about the SBA loan. Who qualifies? The purpose? Can a homeowner with insurance get a loan? That is a question in the chat right now. And I know we had tried to get SBA on this call. I apologize. They weren't able to join us tonight. So we hope to at some point have them in the future. But is there someone who can address these concerns tonight?
I think we need to have Gerald Frank reach out to this individual and answer those questions. He's our county contact for SBA.
I will put Gerald's email into the chat.
Okay.
But in a very general sense, the SBA loans are available, but you still have to apply for them. And based on, your application and your individual situations could impact the amounts you could receive and the interest rates. But the entire fire area, and we will have a thorough SBA update on hopefully the next Mountain View Fire community meeting, but the entire area is eligible for this program.
And can I just add that because the Small Business Administration is a federal administration, my district office is empowered to help anyone that wants to apply for an SBA loan. If you've got questions or if you need guidance, please call my district office or send us an email and let us advocate for you, because we can be a valuable tool for you in getting that assistance put together.
Thank you, Jay, for that. And if there is any contact information that that can be put up for the district offices of our legislators, either in this chat, or we can put them up on our Mountain View Fire Recovery webpage, and they can be available there.
Supervisor Peters, I'm happy to kind of 30,000 foot discuss vaccinations if you'd like.
Yeah, I just saw one more question regarding who can help advocate with kind of having struggles and issues with an insurance company, an individual. So there's the United
Policyholders.
They did a presentation last week. Their contact information is on our website. There's also Commissioner Lara, who came on to our RPAC meeting last month in Antelope Valley. His office is also can help direct you with advocacy. And yeah, Justin, I know that there's going to be a mass vaccination clinic Saturday in Antelope Valley. But what does it take? What do you need to do? Can you walk us through the steps to be able to be registered and all that?
So I'm going to put the vaccination webpage in the chat here. And what you'll need to do is go to that page. It has all the information as up to date as we can get it. The first thing, it walks you through step by step. We're asking people to pre-register. And so a pre-registration means that you go in and you fill out a form with your information, underlying health conditions, age, those sort of things. And we're able to, on the back end, incorporate that data into a spreadsheet that will allow us to then reach out to you directly when your time is available. So you go in and you pre-register and you receive a sort of confirmation that you've registered. It may go to your spam, so please be aware to check your spam. And then the public health department will reach out to you on your specific, when a specific pod or clinic has been set up for your vaccinations. And so there is an event on Saturday. You'll need to go in and pre-register for that event and any subsequent events based upon your criteria, which we're following federal and state guidelines on distribution criteria. So I'll put that link into the chat box.
And just for clarity, that event's at the Antelope Valley Fire Station on Larson Lane.
And it is, thanks, Justin. And it is not a drive up without an appointment event. We're not asking people to show up like the testing sites. You need to have prearranged an appointment.
Okay. So does anybody have any further questions? We have a couple people that are on the meeting as participants and that are leading agencies, some of our partners. And if any of those agencies or members of the EOC wanted to speak, or if our board chair or county council Simon might have an update too on just where the county is in our litigation over the fire. You
Hey,
just
John, you've
raise
got a
your
question
hand.
here on FMAG. Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, the FMAG, sure.
So the question was, and it's a good one, fire management assistance grants. We applied for those as a result of the Mountain View fire and were denied. And the question is, Reno had a fire that only burned 5 houses and they got approval to do FMAG. So why the difference? And obviously I was not your congressman when the fire occurred, so I wasn't part of the application, but I can take an educated guess because that grant program, there are 2 different thresholds that you can qualify under. One is the individual fire cost threshold and one is the cumulative fire cost threshold. So just guessing about the Reno fire, they probably wouldn't have met the individual fire cost threshold, but for the whole state, they were probably over their cumulative fire cost threshold. And that's why they got approved. And I'll bet California wasn't. So I know it's frustrating and it doesn't make sense, but that's probably the reason.
Okay, thank you for that.
John, we've got a couple more questions that came through the chat instead of the Q&A.
Okay.
Maybe I can read some of those. Since the wind has blown some of the ash out of the home perimeter, bits here and there, will this extend the excavation around the home? I might look to Lewis.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I apologize in advance if I'm not coming in clearly because I also am having some internet issues here at home. But the general answer to that is no. I reached out to Cal OES and Cal Recycle folks and asked them the question of whether or not blown around debris, blown around ash would add contaminants to the neighboring. I think that this would extend as well into your own property. I mean, if there's obvious debris that's been stretched out around the footprint of where your home stood from where the foundation is, yes, they'll go in there and they'll remove that. They'll take some of that X oil away. It would be minimal. But the answer to the other question that I mentioned regarding blowing debris onto adjoining properties, they basically came to the conclusion, which really I thought the same, was anything that would have blown into the neighboring communities or neighboring properties would be very negligible. So there won't be any, excavation or even soil sampling done on properties just to verify any blown in contamination. The removal and the process will really be on the foundation and the footprint of the home itself. So there could be some surrounding areas around that footprint that they'll address, but generally speaking, they won't go very far from that.
Yeah, thanks, Lewis. And you made a good point there. Their intent not only to sample the burned site, but to have some background soil data. So they'll go slightly away from the burn areas to make sure that they've got some somewhat pre-existing conditions of the soil constituency. Along the same lines, another question: how large is the equipment that comes in to take the remains of the home? This individual is expanding their driveway from 16 foot to 20 foot, trying to save the trees for now. Might be Lewis again.
Yeah, and I don't have a firm answer on that other than they have a variety of sizes of equipment. I mean, the largest would be an excavator, I would imagine. Some of them are pretty large. You mentioned a 20-foot wide driveway. I don't think there'll be any problem with them getting through that. And of course, if there's not a fence surrounding your whole property, they can come in from a different direction as well. So I don't think they'll have to move fence posts or gates or things of that nature. Maybe in the worst case scenario they would, but I think generally they'll find a way to get to the debris pile without having to destroy a bunch of live trees or tearing out gates and things of that nature to get to the pile.
Okay, thanks, Louis. A couple more questions through the Q&A.
Yep.
What's the wait time for the building process, permits specifically? And I don't know that we have any representatives on from our community development and building division. But I can tell you that with the temporary dwelling permits that they're looking to offer. Oh, Jason Davenport is here. Justin, I don't know if you can promote Jason Davenport, and he may be able to.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you.
April is also on.
I'll let them answer with a little more clarity. Louis, maybe back to you. The next question is, will the county work on the banks that are eroding also after the cleanup?
I'm sorry, could you say it again? You were cutting out on my end.
Will the county work on the banks that are eroding after the cleanup?
The banks that are eroding now, are you talking, well, you don't know. I'm assuming around the property along the road? Is that the banks they're discussing?
Carolyn, maybe you can clarify whether you mean the banks of the road or stream banks. River banks is what she's saying.
The riverbanks, you know, my understanding is the contractors that are contracting to do this work, their work is specifically for the burn debris areas. So that's going to include your home, a garage, outbuildings. They'll go in and they'll take all of that. They're going to be very judicious about working anywhere else because that's not what they're charged to do. So I do know that in the round fire that happened here in the southern end of the county 6 years ago, there were some requests that were made, maybe a little beyond what the normal charge that the contractor was. And you know, they're on the site and they're there, they can do some things for you if you're there. And I recommend anybody who gets that contact from the state that wants to be there, that they should be there, because you can give some direction and ask to have some certain things done. But just keep in mind, that's going to be very minimal. They need to get in there. They need to take care of the main debris piles and get out and get to the next property. So I think, you know, anything beyond that's going to be on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. A couple of questions. Jason, we're going to steer these your way. What's the wait time for building process, permit specifically?
Well, that's going to really depend on the type of rebuild they're going to do, and the type of what I want to say, the quality of their permit application submittal. So everything is being expedited. All the fees are being waived except for the state fees. And we have an extra plans examiner company on board, so we can move things through as quick as possible. We're currently in contact with most of the manufactured home suppliers out of the north area that usually bring most of the manufactured homes down to the Walker Colville area. And we're kind of estimating that it'll probably be about half manufactured homes on the rebuild at least, because that's what was existing. So we're currently in contact with them, trying to get all of the design criteria met through their manufacturers, and a good submittal template for them, so they can get us what we need and we can move them through fast. So, but as far as time frame, typically for a manufactured home, once we get the submittal, we do most of those in-house, and we can do that within a week to 2 weeks if it's a good submittal. Any stick-built homes, typically we get first comments from the plan reviewers within 3 weeks, and then really it depends on the design professionals handling those plan check comments as to how long that permit takes to get approved.
Okay, next question, Louis, probably for you. Will there be more than one team like there was with the biohazard. So I'm assuming, will there be more than one team for phase 2 like there was for phase 1?
There will be. As to how many, I don't know that. I think that's up to the to Cal OES and Cal Recycle, how they're going to put that together. How many people signed up, which we have a good, great majority of our property owners did. So I think it comes down to the resources. They'll send as many but there absolutely will be more than one, more and probably more than a couple.
And it looks like we have one one additional question. Will there be a resource for ease of access to these builders for pre-manufactured homes?
Ease of access, I'm not quite sure what they're referring to. We're in direct contact with the suppliers. The builders for manufactured homes are actually they're HUD certified builders, and they're not necessarily anywhere in our area. They can come from anywhere in the country, as long as they meet a few requirements that California requires. But the California HCD defers to HUD as to the building codes. So that's why they don't have to have the fire sprinklers or the new solar mandate. Those all make it go a little bit quicker and quite a bit less expensive on the build. So, but as far as anything else expedited, that's on an individual basis, really. But we're really going to push things through as quickly as we can to get people back in homes. So,
Now the county has taken quite a few steps at waiving fees and expediting internal processes so that people can rebuild faster. And that should help on just about every level.
And hey, Jason, what can somebody do, like when this meeting's over in a couple of days, they have a question about building? What should they do? Who do they get in contact with? How do they get answers to their questions?
well, we're really deferring to our permit technician, Michael Jones, at the 1800 number. And he is sending out tasks to whoever that call specializes to, whether it's Lewis, myself, or April in planning, and sending out to the person most qualified to answer the question. I'm always willing to take questions. I am in the field quite often though, so emails are always best to reach me so I can answer whenever I'm at my desk. Otherwise, it's somewhat difficult to reach me directly.
Okay, next question. Justin, are there any more?
We have a couple more. This is directed to Supervisor Peters and our elected state representatives. So piggybacking on the question regarding bank erosion, are there funds, programs for residential acreage for seeding or hydro seeding? Acres next to us have no home. We are cleaning up our place, but sand is coming in from neighboring properties.
That one, I'm unaware of funding for that, but who we can engage is our Ag Commissioner, Nate Reed. I don't know if he's on this call, but he is part of the EOC, and he should be able to answer questions about that. The only other folks, if it's on public lands, if it's on BLM or USDA Forest Service lands, I know that they have mitigation resources to deal with erosion and restoration of fire scarring.
There are no other open questions at this time on Facebook or in the Zoom.
County Counsel Simon, do you want to maybe cover where we're at with the litigation briefly?
Yes, I'm happy to. And I'd like to, if I could, introduce and have promoted to panelist two gentlemen who are in the attendee list, John Fisk, and I believe I saw Ed Diab, if he's still on. Ed Diab. So we'll give the moderator a moment to promote John, and Ed may no longer be here.
Ed may not. Is the 714 number perhaps?
And hi, this is John Fisk here. I'm keeping my video off so that my sound comes across the best.
John, is Ed's phone number 714?
Ed was on and he just left about 7 minutes ago to join another work call, but I'm on in his stead here.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you, Supervisor Peters. I'm Stacy Simon. I'm the Mono County Council, and as I believe has been discussed at prior community meetings and RPACs, et cetera, Mono County, together with several other agencies experiencing damage as a result of the fire, have filed litigation against Liberty Utilities. And John Fisk, who just joined here on the panel, is our outside counsel leading that litigation, very experienced in recovering from damage resulting from utility-caused wildfires, and has represented many, many public agencies across the state in similar matters. With us in the litigation is the Antelope Valley Fire Protection District, Twayabe Indian Health Project, and the Bridgeport Indian Colony. So that litigation was filed on January 19th, very beginning, but I think it's been mentioned several times on the call. There are expenses that the county has to pay. For example, if you're uninsured and there is debris removal on your property and there's no recovery through your insurance, that's a cost the county will bear. Additionally, we've had damage to our own infrastructure, roads, guardrails, our transfer station, and all of the staff time and energy that you've seen at these meetings and at the LAC and in various places. Significant costs for the county and for all of our partner agencies, I'm sure. Not to mention the loss that Twayabe Indian Health Clinic suffered, losing its entire clinic in Antelope Valley. So those are the types of costs that Mono County would seek to recover. And John, I don't know if you wanted to add to that or.
I think you did a great job. Hi, everybody. John Fisk here from Barron and Bud. Our firm specializes in representing public entities in wildfire cases. Not only have we represented over 50 counties, cities, and special districts throughout California in wildfire cases, we work very closely with our state and federal counterparts. We actually work to recover FEMA and OES dollars as well as part of our overall process when we're working with utilities. And when one of these fires occurs, as you all know, a chain reaction of local government, state government, federal government kicks into gear to respond to the fire and help rebuild communities. That's all very costly and very expensive. And if we didn't bring in action against the utilities, then it would come out of the taxpayer dollars. And so what we do is we join the community, other individuals and other businesses that also bring actions against Liberty Utilities or other utilities like PG&E or Southern California Edison to help replenish taxpayer dollars and expenses spent on recovery and response to these wildfires. And so many individuals, usually nearly 100% of the individuals are very close to that. 100% of the businesses are very close to that, also bring cases. And this has been very true throughout the many, many wildfires that have been caused by utilities in the state over the last decade. So we're here to be a part of that solution and to help the community continue to be resilient and rebuild in the aftermath.
Thank you very much for that, John. And actually, a couple of questions that came through could be related to monies that I can't necessarily identify them. They're talking about erosion, stream bank erosion, just the lack of vegetation that is causing erosion and dust issues. Is there money for mitigating some of those things if those are occurring on non-federal lands?
Sure. Yeah. To the extent that the county is expending taxpayer resources to mitigate any sort of hazard, whether it be a flood hazard, an erosion hazard, or additional fire hazard, or any hazard as a result of a utility caused wildfire, that would be part of the legal damages that would be asserted in a particular lawsuit. Certainly, if that is also the case on somebody's private property, that might become part of their private property damages as well. So you might have a large rancher, or we have a lot of farmers and ranchers that lose a lot of property and have damage to their land as a result of these types of wildfires. They can also assert certain claims to recover monies for those types of hazard mitigation expenditures as well.
And just to add to that, two things I did see. Oh, I was going to ask John if you minded if we posted your information to the attendee list, and looks like that just happened. So I assume you don't mind. But secondly, I wanted to say one of the reasons that Mono County selected the firm of Barron and Budd, and I believe the other public agencies that are with us in this lawsuit, is that they have extensive experience working in partnership with the various attorneys that are representing other agencies, individuals, to bring a collective front that takes care of and addresses a variety of different needs. John is a collaborative attorney, if there's such a thing, but vast experience working with all of the different private lawsuits, other agency lawsuits, et cetera, private business lawsuits, so that there is a united front of folks who have experienced damage. And that was an important attribute to us. We wanted someone who could work with.
I'm gonna have to cut you off here. I know it's an important topic, but we have a hard out at 6 p.m. and I wanted to thank everybody who was able to attend, especially our legislators, Congressman Jay Obernolte and Assemblyman Frank Bigelow, Justin Nalder, another great job leading this meeting. And thank you to Chair Kreitz, County Council Simon, CAO Lawton, Mary Boer, Justin Caparuso, Jason Davenport, you're still in the Hollywood Squares. Thank you to you and everyone who attended, all the attendees. We are here to help and we want to be able to aid in the recovery so that everybody can get back to a sense of normalcy and be able to live in our beautiful community. So thank you very much and stay tuned. We will be having another community conversation. We'll be putting that date out shortly.
Thank you.